So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to think about what your first initial impulse response is when you hear me pose this question, okay? Go deep inside yourself and just think about what is the very first thing that comes to mind in that initial split second, okay? Here we go. Question is, how do you feel about working out later? Now, if your first thought is, oh, geez, working out, boy, I got to get into a whole different headspace for that, then that is probably going to be a tremendous obstacle for you because anyone can force themselves to do something that they're not looking forward to for a given period of time. They can do it for a day, maybe a week, a month, a year, but eventually it's not going to be sustainable unless you enjoy it. You don't just want to tolerate something, you want to be able to enjoy it and to look forward to it. And so if your first thought when I posed that question about working out later was, oh no, I don't want to do that, I think you need some cognitive restructuring so that you make exercise and your relationship with exercise a more meaningful, more sustainable part of your life. Now, what if that's not your response? What if your response was more like, I can kind of take it or leave it. Okay, I guess I'll make time. Well, that's not bad, but you want to go in with a bigger smile. To make things truly sustainable for the decades of life you probably have in front of you, the best thing that you can do is, again, to do that cognitive restructuring, take some steps, change the wiring in your brain, change your perception of exercise, change what it means to you, and change what it brings to your mind to try to make it from kind of a neutral, like was just given in that example, and try to move it over to a real positive where you can confidently say to yourself honestly that, oh good, we're going to work out later, awesome, I can't wait. We want to make it more of an adventure, right? Now, if you're already there, that's great. Then just sustain that. Don't let that slip away. But if you're not there yet, I'm going to give you some advice. This is the same advice that I use with a lot of my clients in life coaching and exercise prescription. And that's, you want to start to slowly restructure the way you view something. All right. In this case, we're talking about exercise. And this works with any kind of positive habit or anything that you need to build a better relationship with. So what I would do first is take a pen and paper. And I would actually use a pen and paper. Don't use the computer or notepad online, but actually write this down. And I'm going to ask you to sit for a good half hour or so and go deep on all the benefits that you get from exercise, from regular exercise, not from one workout, but from sticking to it regularly. And write down, go as deep as you can. And you don't want to come away with a little list of 4 or 5 things where you say, I feel better, I look better. Go 100 yards deeper than that, okay? Come up with things like, and use meaningful, specific examples. Say things like, at that wedding I was at, let's say 6 months ago, hypothetically, I was at that wedding and everybody was complimenting me and saying I looked great. And it really felt good. And I felt like I was really, whatever it was that night, I felt super confident and I felt super attractive. Whatever it is, go deep and specific. And you can give particular examples like that. And you can also give things that are not just a one-off example, but that are just a generalization too. Use everything. The more you put down on this list, the more you're going to start to cognitively restructure your relationship with exercise. Because here's the bottom line. When people think of exercise, they tend to think about the blood, sweat, and tears, the effort, the burning muscles, the longing to want to be somewhere else, doing something else that's more fun and more relaxing. And instead, you've got to slowly think of all those things, the muscle soreness, the sweat, the intensities. You've got to think of them as a means to something positive. If your thinking only goes as far as, yeah, I have to work out, and that's it, then you're not likely to really make it a friend. You've got to make it where as soon as you think of exercise, as soon as you walk into your workout room or whatever the case is, that your first thought is, yeah, that's right, I'm going to get this done. I'm the action hero of my own story. I'm full of energy. This is going to be my own little adventure here. I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to feel so good because insert all those things here that you're going to put in your list. And I'm telling you, doing this once is a nice step. It's going to move the needle to where you feel better about exercise and create a better relationship with it. But doing this almost daily for a good couple of weeks is going to be a really nice big step forward. It's going to start to, and I know you're going to be writing the same stuff every day. I understand that. But again, you are training your brain every time you say something out loud, every time you write it down, every time you see it visually written down. All of those things are going to just slowly, gradually changing your brain chemistry, changing your attitude. This is how we get our impulses. And that's why I asked you at the beginning of the video when I said, how do you feel? What's your initial impulse thought when I pose this question? That's what we want to change. We want to change those synapses. We want to change that initial thought by giving you more positive associations with the idea of exercising. So there are a lot of other ways to go about this. I definitely recommend NLP. I recommend anything where you're saying out loud some of these things too. So that's one helpful thing you could do is when you're writing them, you could say them out loud as a mantra repeatedly. You could also do a little thing that I like to do, that when you're driving and you're at a red light, you have nothing to do with that red light, right? So you're just sitting there kind of wasting time. This is a good time to keep that little pad that you're going to write here with you. And while you're at the red light, just keep one eye on the traffic light and another eye. Go back through your list. Say some of these things out loud again. Remind yourself. In a perfect world, if you did this 10 times a day for a year, you're going to really make significant change. But you probably don't need to go quite that far with this if you don't want to. Doing it just once or twice a day for even a few short weeks is really going to help your perception of what exercise really means to you and what it leads to. Again, you want to change things. Think of it this way. You want to change your perception of exercise to where all you're doing is seeing it as like a train that's getting you to your destination, or a vehicle that you're getting into so we can take you where you want to go. Right? If you're waiting for an Uber, for example, and you're waiting outside, and every minute you're thinking, where's that Uber? Where's that Uber? I really have to get to wherever I'm going. And then you see it pull up, you get excited, right? You want to create that excitement for the idea of exercising. And then we want to nurture that with other strategies too. There's a million other strategies we could get into, but this is what I'd recommend as your starting point. Write it down. You're going to see it with your eyes. You're going to think it in your brain. You could even say it out loud. Make that list and go through it every day, and just keep training your brain to see exercise as something you are building a healthy relationship with. And pretty soon, believe me, you're going to be more and more immersed in this way of thinking where you're not going to have to work at it so much. So anyway, guys, I hope this video has been helpful. If you thought it was helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe. You'll get more videos like this. You can also meet with me over Zoom at absolutely no cost. You're literally going to get like a $100-something value for free. And you can go ahead and schedule on my website so that we can talk more in depth about your own struggles, your obstacles, your own perceptions, the way that exercise, nutrition, lifestyle change fit or don't fit into your identity right now. And I can talk with you, and we can do some strategies and make sure that we get you to where you need to be. So anyway, everybody, I'm looking forward to your health and your wellness success.